Listen, this is gonna make a lot of people mad. Welcome to the only book recommendation video you'll ever need when it comes to dystopian books. This is your ultimate master list of the best dystopian sci-fi, dystopian fantasy book recommendations that are my all-time favorites, the number ones that I would recommend to you, and they are honestly dystopian required reading. Very glad that dystopian is making a comeback. However, I do feel like if you're new to dystopian, maybe you don't know what it is, maybe you're a romantasy reader, maybe ACOTAR got you into your reading journey, and maybe you've read some of the spicy dystopian books out, or just a classic dystopian lover and you want to know what the best books are that you should read. So we're gonna break this into 3 parts. There is literally something for everyone in this video. So first of all, we're going to rank my personal favorite god tier 5-star dystopian required reading in my personal opinion. We're gonna rank them all. These can be from anywhere, and these are gonna focus on like real dystopian books that I have grown up, that I have loved, and that make the god tier list. Some of them are romances, some of them are not, but these are gonna be the like god tier ones that I consider required reading as a dystopian lover. We're then gonna go over some honorable mentions that don't quite make it onto my god tier list, but that everybody would be super offended if I didn't put on this list. And then lastly, we're gonna go over some classic dystopians that I still need to read that are on my dystopian TBR, what's coming up next, what did I miss as a child when I was reading dystopian, and basically my dystopian TBR. So we've got 4 parts to this video. We're gonna go over them all. It is going to literally be the most like savable video you've ever watched in your entire life. Like reference this anytime you need a dystopian book rec. So we're gonna start off with my personal ranking, my top favorite dystopian books, and we're gonna go from like least to most favorite, but like least favorite does not mean I don't like it. It just means that like these are all my favorites, and we're gonna rank them from like favorite to absolute most favorite. I'm gonna tell you right now, Handmaid's Tale is not on here because I really like Handmaid's Tale. It doesn't make it into my god tier stack, okay? Maybe the TV show would, but like listen, this is for me. Here is what you get when you ask me for dystopian book recs. And don't worry, we've got something for everyone on here, so just like wait for your particular part. So I thought I was gonna rank my top 10, but there's actually 11 books on here. So we're gonna rank my top 11 favorite god tier, personally for me, required reading for dystopian. People got really mad when I put this on TikTok because they were like, these are not required reading, you don't have Handmaid's Tale on here. And I'm like, I said mine. My god tier. Handmaid's Tale is great. Handmaid's Tale is fine. It is generally a 4-star read for me, but it doesn't make this list. Sorry. Okay, so listen, this is gonna make a lot of people mad. Handmaid's Tale is a perfectly acceptable dystopian book. If you wanna go read it, okay? But I don't wanna talk about it. So spot number 11. All of these, by the way, are completed series or standalones, okay? For this particular section, every single one of these is completed, so that's a bonus. Spot number 11 is going to go to The 100 by Kass Morgan. Now, this, such a good time. And you might be recognizing this because maybe you watched the TV show of The 100, and the TV show is also a god tier TV show. You absolutely should watch it. It should make you should make time for it. It's also a completed TV show. It's got 7 seasons and it's done. Now this though, I will preface, if you love the TV show of The 100, the book series, completely different. So let me tell you what happened with the book series of The 100. Basically, the author, Kass Morgan, was writing this book, number 1, The 100. And TV show makers, producers, writers, whatever, saw that and were like, that's a really good, interesting storyline, and they paid her for the rights to the story before she had finished writing book 1. So, what that means is the TV show took the premise, took some things from book 1, and then basically wrote their own story. So what you have in the TV show is character names that will be the same, but that's quite literally, the premise is literally the same, which is that there's a space station up in space, obviously, and there are some troubled youths who've been taken to the space station prison. The world ended a long time ago because of radiation and war and all that stuff. They're gonna send the teen criminals down to the Earth to make sure it's safe again, and if it's good to go, humans are gonna come back. That's the premise. The books are completely different, okay? So don't get mad at me if you like the show and you read the books and they're not the same. If you like the show, that is a really good reason to pick up the book series and experience something new. You need to think of them as being separate though, okay? So The 100 is a little bit of like sci-fi mixed with dystopian. Also for those people who like to do fan castings, Bellamy Blake would be my only choice for Xaden Ryerson. So do with that what you will. Half of everyone thinks it's amazing and they totally get my vibe, and then everybody else literally wants to cancel me. So whatever. This is gonna go in spot number 11. This is a vibe, this is fun. I would not call this good writing. I would not call this like, you know, the best written thing on the world. That's not why I'm recommending it. I'm recommending it because I ate the entire 4-book series up in 2 days. So that was what I was looking for. Spot number 10 is going to go, y'all might be getting mad by this, but wait, I'm gonna tell you, these get more quality and better written as we go on in the series. That's why this is spot number 10. The Shatter Me series. Now this, you either love it or you hate it, and I don't care which one that is. This, one of the best subplot romance dystopian series ever, okay? Now let me tell you, this series, number one, it's a completed series, I think. It did look like the author came out with like either a little spin-off or a novella recently, but I'm pretty sure this is a closed, completed series, and it has been for like a couple years. So if you're looking for a dystopian book, a dystopian story, a dystopian series that also has really good romance, technically this should fall into part 2, but I feel like young adult is a different vibe. There is so much story and plot, and like there is romance in it, but I wouldn't call it like, it doesn't overshadow the plot, and I feel like the romance overshadows the plot in some of the other ones. So this one, let me tell you something honest, okay? I hated book 1 of Shatter Me. Hated it. Absolutely despised it. I was gonna DNF the series, and then I went on Book Talk and sort of gave a review about it and asked about it, and people were like, no girl, you gotta finish the series. They were absolutely right. You should give this a chance. Number one, each book is so short. I finished each one in like 1 to 2 days max. This is a quick read. Again, a vibes read, okay? This is more of a vibe. You're going to be squealing, giggling, kicking your feet over the romance that is in here. And this is young adult, so personally I feel like a lot of times with dystopian, young adult usually tends to be my favorite, so that's what you're gonna see a lot of on here. Don't worry, I've got about half adult dystopian on here, so. We're gonna put this in spot number 10, completed series, super easy to read. If you're judging me right now because I've put 2 young adult like vibes reads as spot 11 and 10, let me cook, okay? Let me cook. Coming in at spot number 9, we have an adult dystopian. This will emotionally wreck you. I read this book and watched this movie when I was in like 8th grade, I think, and I will never forget. It's an adult book, so I don't know what I was doing, but this is called Never Let Me Go. And I don't really want to spoil anything for you. This is a standalone. It's one book, one thing, and it also has a really good, well-adapted movie version that is just as good as the book is. So Never Let Me Go is about an orphanage. There's children at the orphanage. You follow them sort of from childhood to adulthood. And there is, I really can't tell you anything else because I accidentally gave a huge spoiler away in my TikTok version of this that I didn't realize or remember was a spoiler. It just is like common knowledge to me, so I just said it. So that's all I'm gonna say. You need to read it. The movie has Carey Mulligan and Keira Knightley in it, and the guy who played... The ice cream truck is going by. The ice cream truck. Okay, sorry. And it had the guy that played the newest Spider-Man, the newest adult Spider-Man, the one with Emma Stone. I don't remember, and Andrew Garfield. It had that guy in it. It's absolutely heartbreaking. I would definitely recommend this book to everyone. Like, it's got a little bit of romance in it. It's got a lot of emotional damage in it. It will make you think. It will also make you need to stare at a wall for a couple hours after you finish. You will remember it for the rest of your life. So we're gonna put that. Can y'all hear the ice cream truck? I was also supposed to record this with a microphone because I did get some feedback that you guys don't like the sound quality of these videos. I will hook up my microphone again, but after I moved, everything is just like not where it's supposed to be. So spot number 8 is also going to be a standalone dystopian experience, and there is a TV show that goes along with this one that was a very good, perfect adaptation in my opinion. So this is going to be Station 11. Station 11 is dystopian. It's also got the post-apocalyptic vibe in it where you're sort of entered into the story right at the beginning of the apocalypse. It is heartbreaking, it is beautiful, it is also very ugly, obviously, because it's the end of the world. And this one is, again, a very deep, emotional, like, think piece. It'll make you feel a lot, it will make you very sad. There's happy and sad moments in it, but this is sort of like a dystopian, post-apocalyptic, really good story about people who you follow through the devolvement into a post-apocalyptic world. So it's very realistic. I feel like a lot of times, like with a movie or with post-apocalyptic things that are very action-packed, it doesn't hit the same way as one that's like not slow plot-wise, but just like a slow descent into what would happen if we entered into the apocalypse. Like what it would be like for real families, what it would be like for real people, like what would happen, what you would do that's not just like action, fighting zombies, doing all this thing. It's been a long time since I've read this one, but I do remember it being a 5-star read for me. It was one of those books that I was forced to read in like a workspace book club. I didn't want to read it, and then I was like, wow, this is one of the best things I've ever read. The TV show came out a few years ago, and it is top tier. So if you add the book to your TBR, definitely add the TV show to your to be watched list. So spot number 7 is honestly such a classic for me dystopian series that if you didn't read growing up, you need to reconcile that and read it now as an adult. So we're going to talk about The Uglies. This is I believe it's a completed series. I think there are more than what's here, but it continued on a little bit after I read it in middle school, I believe. But The Uglies, obviously, it is just like kind of what it sounds like. It's actually pretty relevant like for today's type of things when you think about like filters and Instagram and social media. So this deals with like looks. Basically, when you reach a certain age, you have the opportunity to be accepted into the pretties, which is people who have cosmetic surgery basically to look however they want. Our main character chooses not to do that, so she kind of runs away, doesn't have her surgery, is kind of a message for like, I like the way I am, I like how I am, but there's also, you know, a sinister underlying, like when you get your cosmetic surgery, it kind of seems as if you get a little brainwashed, like your personality changes, like what are they doing to these people? They're making them look really pretty, they're giving them everything they want, they get to go to this different area where everything's a party, everything's pretty, everything's easy, but they then sort of seem like not who they were before they had the surgery. So this is going to follow a main character who chooses to not undergo the surgery, and gets chased down by the government. So, because they want to force her to be pretty. You know, there was a movie made for The Uglies very recently, and I will be honest with you, it was the worst thing I've ever seen. I did not like it. It felt like we went back in time to when we used to make dystopian movies like in the early 2000s, but like in a bad way. It was not good. I was personally really frustrated with the Uglies movie. I would not recommend it. There are people out there that say that they like it, but I personally, as someone who absolutely loved the series, despised the TV show. So wouldn't really recommend that, but would definitely recommend the books. So in this particular ranking, this is where some of you guys are gonna get mad and say that I lost the plot, because in this spot right here, just knowing that there are other books in front of this, we're gonna put The Hunger Games, okay? We're gonna put The Hunger Games, and I said what I said, and these are all my god tier dystopian books. So I don't dislike anything that's come before this, and I don't dislike The Hunger Games more than other books. This is just where this falls in my ranking. The Hunger Games is required dystopian reading, 100%. And this is one where I feel like I really liked the movies. I feel like they were a pretty decent portrayal of the books. The Hunger Games, in case you don't know and you have yet to read it and you're still trying to decide, it is a post-apocalyptic society that basically really separates like the wealthy from the poor in different ways. So we've got the rich people who live very comfortably, amazing. They kind of similar to the Uglies. They can look however they want. We've got crazy like abilities. Anyway, and we have the Hunger Games once a year, which we have 12 districts of people who are basically just there to serve the rich people in different ways. They have different landscapes that they live on, different things that they are contributing to the society, forced to contribute, and we are choosing one person from each district every year to compete in deadly trials. So the Hunger Games, for us millennials, for like this generation, is sort of our first experience, our blueprint when it comes to the games and trials trope. So a lot of the books that we're reading today, the romantasy books, ACOTAR, kind of Throne of Glass, but those books that we like that have games and trials in them, a lot of that in this time period has been taken from the Hunger Games. That's where that idea originated for us, for the millennials. There have definitely been books and TV shows and movies with games and trials that existed before the Hunger Games, but the Hunger Games was pretty groundbreaking for us when it came out. So I do think it is required reading. If you're loving reading the current books, the romantasy, the fantasy, the whatever, anything that's come out post like 2012 and it has games and trials in it and you love it, please go back and read the blueprint, read the original, read where the inspiration probably came from. It's really good. It's very emotionally devastating. There is a little subplot of romance sort of in it. That's definitely not the focus. And it's just really, really, really good. The Hunger Games is amazing. It is probably top tier. The one criticism I will say about the movies is I didn't feel like the end of the movie, the third movie, was quite as destroying and emotionally impactful as the end of book 3 was. The end of book 3, and I think it has to do with the rating, like they needed to rate the Hunger Games PG-13, so they couldn't show, there's like rules about showing blood and stuff in a PG-13 movie. To be real, the Hunger Games needed to be rated R. That was the issue. But they wanted to make it available for the youths, you know, I get it, whatever. So the end of book 3 was a lot more disturbing than the end of the movie. The movie did a pretty good job. It was still disturbing enough, but I feel like it was a little bit, it feels a little cop-outy to me. It feels a little, I don't know. For a young adult book, it was quite disturbing. So at the Hunger Games, if you haven't read it already, now this is where you're gonna get mad. Because in the next spot, I'm gonna put Divergent. Yes! I'm gonna put Divergent over the Hunger Games. Now let me tell you why. They're pretty even. They're really honestly kind of the same spot. However, I liked the big emotional damage dump that was at the end of Divergent, okay? I felt it was a little bit more realistic. I know what happened in the Hunger Games was not happily ever after. I get it. But Divergent I just feel like it shocked me and shook me in a way that I will never forget. And like the Hunger Games was like a slow build of like everything being disturbing and terrible, and I love that too. But I just feel like there was such an acute shock in Divergent that it treated my brain differently, and my brain will always be like, I remember that emotional damage and I love it because I love stuff like that. So for that reason, we're gonna put Divergent above Hunger Games. Now Divergent has a military academy, a military college, which again, if you're reading a lot of the popular romantasy books, we love a military academy. Fourth Wing took a lot from Divergent. So if you like Fourth Wing, go back and read Divergent. It's amazing. If you like Xaden, 4 was the blueprint for Xaden. I would bet money that 4 was a high inspiration for what we get from Xaden. He was played, who was that guy? It was Theo James. Very attractive guy, so we love that. Divergent is going to be sort of in a world where when you reach a certain age, you get to pick, I don't remember what it's called, I'm just gonna call it like a house. It's like a different focus for what you're gonna do. So you get to pick which part you want to be interested in. So I don't remember the names for them. I'm gonna put them on screen right now because I'm gonna find them. But here are the options of life choices you can choose in Divergent. We have sort of a nice, quiet, shy girl named Triss who is unexpectedly going to choose Dauntless, which is basically like the military choice. Like they are the danger, like if you were to really make a super surface level claim about them, they're kind of adrenaline junkies, but she's basically gonna go into this like training facility where she has like fight training, physical training. Obviously the love interest is her trainer, so it's got the trainer-trainee trope. And it's got a lot of political intrigue. It is just really, really, really good. I don't want to tell you too much more about it. I will say, the movies for Divergent, absolute trash. Horrible. The first one was okay, but I don't think they ever finished. Did they ever finish the movies? My biggest critique is that they never finished them. I also really didn't like, I swear there was a second movie made, but like, I don't think it was very good. Absolutely do not recommend the movies, and I know you're mad that I put Divergent over Hunger Games. Go ahead and get mad and argue in the comments. It's totally fine. Tell me how wrong I am. This is my opinion. This is what I think. And I said they're basically equal. Okay, so coming up in the next spot, we have one of my favorite dystopians of all time, and this one is absolutely slept on. So we gotta talk about the Maze Runner series. The Maze Runner series, number one, I don't know why it's so slept on, but like no one talks about this. It's always Hunger Games, Divergent. The Maze Runner is just as good, a little better because I'm putting it above them. But this, so good. This is, I don't even know how to explain it, but like it is a group of teens that are stuck in this, like, it's in a maze basically, and it's got kind of like if you think about the maze scene from Harry Potter, but like things happen at certain times of the day, like you can't go in there after a certain time. This was just so good. It's so much deeper than that. It starts out pretty simple with a simple idea. It's action-packed, it's high energy. You're not gonna be able to put it down. And then it like goes so much deeper into that in these 4 books. And I will say, book 4, oh my gosh, book 4 is technically a prequel, but the full circle plot twist, jaw-dropping moment that's at the end of book 4 quite literally changed my rating for the whole series. Like my rating was definitely gonna be 4 stars. It was 5 when I got to the end of the prequel. So yes, the prequel is necessary and you need to read it last. Do not read it first. This is another one that I will say, the movies, disgrace. Disgraceful. Disgraceful. The first one was okay, it's fine. But again, it was rated PG-13, so a lot of the disturbing stuff that like makes it super impactful in the book, you can't really show in the movie. And then basically, I don't know what they did, but in movies 2 and 3, they literally changed the story. Nothing that happens in these books, maybe like 3%, is in the movies, and it's a worse story. This was fine how it was. Why did we change it? I don't understand. It was horrible. It was terrible. I've never been more mad at a movie adaptation to a series since Aragon. Aragon, we made it was an immediate no when we made Aragon a blonde surfer boy. Like, that's all you need to know about that. Don't watch these movies. Don't watch these movies unless you think of them similar to like the 100, you think of them as a completely different story, and you better be reading the books. But if you're watching the movies and you like them, I'm not going to be satisfied unless you read all 4 of these books and then tell me which one's better. Now, if we want to talk about books with the best plot twists and the best like written books I've ever read, we have to talk about the Broken Earth trilogy. The first book is the 5th season. This absolutely blew me away. Now I know when I'm talking about romantasy, I'm talking about vibes reads, I'm talking about fun, even some of these are vibes reads. This, beautifully written, masterpiece, technically well written, like emotionally well written, the plot is perfectly paced. This is an actual like all around masterpiece. Well written, not a vibes read. You will have fun, obviously, when you're reading it. Like, it's a good and bad time. But this was one of the first books where when I got to like a major plot point twist in this book, I had to sit up straight, and I was like, and it shook me for weeks. Like, I still think about it. And this is a little bit of a mixture. It's dystopian, but it's also got kind of a fantasy element to it. So it's kind of both. So if you like fantasy, you like dystopian, this does a good job of mixing kind of all 3, sci-fi, dystopian, and fantasy. It's got a little bit of everything, but it is classified as dystopian. So, and this, one of my favorite things about it is it's written strangely. It's written from 3 different POVs. We have them all in here. We have, not people POVs, like it's people, but it's also like different POVs. So you have someone speaking from 3rd person, you have someone speaking from 1st person, and then you have someone speaking from 2nd person. There is a 2nd person perspective in this book. Don't let that deter you. It's super cool. Like, once you get into the world, once you meet all these people, once you like, you know, acclimate yourself with the writing being like that, it's really good. And it being written like that is part of the reason I love it so much, okay? Not all of the books are written and quite as crazy as that, but this one sort of, you know, to introduce you to everyone, writes it like this is written like that. This is God tier. This is amazing. If you haven't read it, you need to adjust your TBR. This is so good. God tier plot, God tier writing, and also N.K. Jemisin writes a lot of good stuff. So if you haven't read anything by her, this is a great one. Okay, so this is the only one that is not a completed series, but I cannot not put it on here. We have to talk about the Bone season. The Bone season is so good. Right now, I think there are 5 books out. One of them is a novella. It's either 5 or 6 books that are out in the whole series. And this is also sort of a little mixture of dystopian mixed with fantasy. It's got a magic system in it, but ultimately it's dystopian. It takes place in the real world. But this involves like a government system that is from another plane of existence, another dimension. And our FMC is clairvoyant, so she has clairvoyance, but she also has this ability to dream walk, to walk between dimensions. It's super cool. So she gets taken by the other, I guess you would call them species, I don't know, the other beings. They're kind of like aliens. They're from another dimension. And our love interest, our relationship, is with her capturer. Now this is pretty old. This is the rewritten version. It got a nice little edit and got reprinted. This is pretty old and no one does. Yearning, tension, slow burn, like this. I was feral for any scrap of communication that these two had. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. It was like good crazy. But also, like, this is very plot driven. This is not, the romance is a subplot. This is more about like the story. But the romance is a pretty significant part. And it will get you steamed up. It will get you so, you will be gnawing at the bars of your enclosure. Yeah, this is so good. Anybody have any advice on how to make a Sony A7 or Sony A whatever? I don't know what it is. I have an A7. Maybe I should just film with that. Making it last more than 30 minutes without overheating. Is it my battery? Anyway, The Bone Season is one of my like favorite series of all time. It is not finished yet. It has to almost be finished. Like there has to only be like 1 or 2 more books coming out. Samantha Shannon also wrote a lot of people's favorite super high fantasy Dragon Rider Witch Women Loving Women book, which is called The Priory of the Orange Tree. This is completely different from that. The Priory of the Orange Tree is quite dense. It's like 1,000, it's over 1,000 pages, has a ton of world building, is a true like high fantasy, and I would personally say, even though I loved it, it's pretty hard to read. This is not hard to read. This is dystopian. It's like urban dystopian, and very fast-paced right from the beginning. Not a lot of like complicated world building. So this I would definitely recommend. Like intro yourself to Samantha Shannon with this, and then if you really like this, try out The Priory of the Orange Tree. But it is completely different. Super high, like complicated fantasy. It took a lot of focus, but it was completely worth it. But this, so good. Now, does anybody know what spot number 1 is going to be for my God tier dystopian? Can you guess? Do you know? Have you been here before? I don't know. YouTube may not know this about me. The Red Rising trilogy and overall the Red Rising saga is going to have to go in spot number 1. This is my favorite dystopian series. It is a completed trilogy. Look, guys. Book 1 of the Red Rising trilogy. Everybody's like, it's a series. It's a trilogy that has a continuation should you choose to read it. Book 3 has full closure. Full closure. It's kind of like watching Degrassi and then watching Degrassi The Next Generation. You could watch Degrassi Generation 1 and stop. Or you could watch The Next Generation and keep going. This is a trilogy. Every other book in the saga says a Red Rising novel. Everyone tells me I'm wrong when I say this is a trilogy. I'm not wrong. The author himself talks about it as a trilogy. Anyway, this has majorly emotional damage plot lines. It has huge, like, violent, disturbing, like, if you thought the Hunger Games trials were bad, this is like the adult version. This is an adult sci-fi dystopian, so it takes place in a very futuristic, like, reimagined Roman setting, and then instead of living in different countries, like, people literally live on different planets, so we're like planet hopping. A lot of it takes place like in space, on Mars, like it's got a lot of space elements to it, but it's got games and trials in book 1, also games and trials in book 2, and it's crazy. The games are like super scary, super violent, super high stakes, and this one, so listen, when you start it, it's gonna kind of take place and start out in a way that I'm gonna give you, it's not a spoiler, but I'm gonna let you know it's nothing like the rest of the book, okay? So I need you to make it through the first 50 pages. They're not boring. There's a little bit of a political, like, world, how the world works explanation. You have to read the book to read the book. Aside from that, number 1, you'll be crying within the first 50 pages. But number 2, after that, it is literally the fastest paced, craziest adventure you will ever go on, okay? This is not a slow book. It's not high fantasy world building. There are a lot of politics in this. There's a lot of, like, scheming, political intrigue, betrayal. There's a whole cast of characters that you'll care about, that you'll cry over, that you'll worry for. There is romance in this trilogy. There is a love interest in here. So listen, this kind of has something for everyone. This is actually one, people have asked me for this kind of rec before, but if you're a book girly and you want to get your man into reading with you, you guys should read this together. This is a book for the girlies, for the boys, for the book girls, for the book boys. It's for everyone. It is one that I know the romanticy girlies end up loving, and it is definitely one your manly man husband, whatever type of husband you have, will also like. I actually did read this, my husband and I, back in like 10 years ago. We just made our own little 2-person couple book club, and this was the first one we chose, I think. It was the first or second. We read Ready Player One, which I didn't like, and we read this one. And this, he picked it out, and I loved it. So then I made him read Throne of Glass like 10 years later. So listen, if you're trying to get your man into reading with you, this Red Rising is so good. Everyone likes it. Any type of reader will like this book. So those are my personal top 11 God tier dystopian required reading in my opinion. And then we have this new wave of like fantasy books turning into romance books or combining with romance books to make romantasy. That genre also exists with dystopian. So let's go over my current favorite spicy romantic dystopian books. I'm not going to put them in any particular order. I'm just going to tell you about them. And number one is very controversial. So, spicy romance dystopian recommendations. We're going to start off talking about Daggermouth, okay? So, there will be some unpopular opinions on here. I'm going to tell you about one that I don't like. Daggermouth was absolutely, for a dystopian romance, a 5-star book, okay? Now listen, if you're reading classical dystopian, a dystopian romance is 50% a romance book, 50% a dystopian book. So listen, it's not gonna be like Red Rising with spice, okay? Red Rising is deep, it has a lot of political world building, it's got a lot of very serious things in it. That takes up the whole book. For a dystopian romance, you need 50% of that to focus on the romance, the relationship, the spicy elements, if there's spice in it. So your plot is still going to be good, but your plot is going to be also serving the romance. I don't know if that makes sense, but you can definitely have a serious dystopian romance that is emotionally damaging, that has everything you need. However, you have to know that it is a hybrid between a romance book and a dystopian book. So it's going to be a little less intense sometimes than a true classic disturbing dystopian. So, Daggermouth, enemies to lovers. These two, literally when she meets him, she shoots him. For real. Tries for a kill shot. And obviously the book has to go on, so he makes it. But that's not the only time she tries to unalive him. So they both these two try to unalive each other 3 to 4 times throughout the book. So it was giving super angsty, enemies to lovers. It has a political system. It's got that dystopian vibe in it. And I really liked the story in Daggermouth. I felt like there was a really crazy plot twist at the end that literally had my jaw on the floor. There was emotional damage. We had an FMC who is just the most unhinged, morally gray main character. Every character in this book is morally gray. There's not a super obvious good guy, I guess. It could kind of be either side, which is usually a point that I really like when it's addressed in a dystopian, so it's not either side of the political stance is correct, which is a much more interesting take than there being we're right, you're wrong, we're the good guys. It's you don't really know in this one, and this is a controversial take because a lot of people hate Daggermouth. Now, Daggermouth is a vibes read. Daggermouth is not going to be the most technically well-written, perfectly edited, whatever book. I am here, you have to read Daggermouth for the vibes. It kept me entertained to the point where I did not notice any editing errors. I didn't notice anything. It's also an indie book that has been picked up by a traditional publisher, so it's gonna get a re-edit. So y'all can calm down. It was self-published, okay? It's hard to self-publish a book. Yes, editors should do their job, but listen, nobody's perfect, and I thought the plot was so entertaining that I don't care about the rest. So speaking of emotional devastation, I quite literally only picked up the first book in this series because somebody said that it was going to emotionally wreck me, and I was like, that's all I need to hear. We're going to talk about Bones by K.L. Spear. Now, I will tell you, I know I've been giving slight little tiny, maybe sometimes slightly incorrect synopses of these books, but I don't want to tell you anything about this other than it's kind of post-apocalyptic and it does have a little tiny bit of magic in it. Our main character is a healer. It deals with trauma. So basically she's a healer that kind of gets taken and used by these factions that have developed after the end of the world. It's kind of like Walking Dead, but without zombies. It's what happens after The Walking Dead, where humans sort of branch off and make factions and rule over each other without any real, without anybody actually in charge. It's sort of everyone fending for themselves. So it's kind of that sort of vibe, that sort of world. It is post-apocalyptic. We don't really know what happened. But our healer FMC in here literally just wants to help people. She doesn't want to hurt anybody. She wants to be a healer. And she keeps getting taken by these people, these groups that force her to sort of work for them and, hurt people. This has immaculate found family. It is a romance. It's got spice. It's a spicy romance, but it has heavy-handed emotional damage. And then I have heard somehow that the second book in the series, Fangs, is even more emotionally devastating. I haven't been able to pick this one up and read it yet, but I'm curious and I'm putting it off because I kind of don't believe you guys. But this was devastation in a book, dystopian. And then apparently this is double devastation in a book, dystopian. I think there are going to be more coming out in the same world. I don't think it's a duology, but I will definitely be back with a review for Fangs. However, Bones is just like so good. Like, it's deep, it's got character development, it's got like, again, really, really, really good found family. Like, I love all of the side characters in here, and it's just really good. It's single narration, which I usually really only like duet, but I listened to the audiobook for this, and I actually really liked the audiobook for it. So really absolutely would recommend Bones. I didn't realize this was dystopian until I picked it up, and then I was like, huh, this fits perfectly into my like newfound adult dystopian era. So now a little bit more of a popular series that everybody talks about. I have not finished it yet. I don't particularly love a prison setting, but I did enjoy this book. We have Us Dark Few. So this one is a dystopian vibe. It takes place in a prison. It is dark, you know, dark dystopian, and it is a series. I haven't read the second book in the series yet, but a lot of people say that it's even better than the first. This one is really good. This was a good time. It was like a 3.75 star for me. It wasn't like a god tier, but I will obviously always recommend this if you want dystopian romance, if you're on that kick. Like, the majority of Book Talk really loves this book, and I did really, really like it. I just felt like, you know, I had a little bit of a better time with Daggermouth, whatever. And I just don't like a prison setting that much. But yeah, this one basically just, yeah, if you like spicy dystopian, if that's your vibe, would recommend it. I don't obviously want to spoil anything for you. And there might be a little bit of a romance happening with the cell block captain, so we love that vibe. Now, for my girlies who like dystopian and also really liked Black Mirror, listen to the way that this book sounds. So this is one that was done a little bit more interestingly, in my opinion, To Cage a Wild Bird. Also is a prison setting. So this is kind of Games and Trials, but it's literally like a Black Mirror episode. So basically it's a prison, but the wealthy hunt the inmates. So there was literally a Black Mirror episode that was very similar to this. That's kind of a spoiler, but I won't tell you what episode it was. But this is giving like Black Mirror, dystopian. It's honestly a little bit, I feel like I could definitely see the plot of this book happening, so that's a little disturbing, but I feel like most dystopian is like that. This one's really short. It's not that long. I felt like it was a really good time. If you're a romantasy girly, this is another book that is a really good mixture of dystopian romance, will be spicy. And everybody has been telling me to read this forever, so finally read it. I'll have it in my March reading wrap up, but it is another one to add to your dystopian romance list. Like, if you haven't heard of this yet, put it on there. Dystopian romance is absolutely making a comeback. Like, the adult spicy dystopian books are just like coming and coming and coming. Now, if you're a vibes reader, you read for a good time, I did put this book in my January reading wrap up. I read This Safe Darkness by Alexis Marigold. This one was giving a little bit more new adult, kind of young adult feeling. I do think she said book 2 was going to have spice in it, so it will be a spicy adult romance, but this is giving a little bit of like dystopian mixed with fantasy. It is a very easy read, very quick read, and it's kind of got like, it's got an interesting magic system. So we have this like community that lives in the dark in caves, and they are afraid to be poisoned by the sun. So basically if you get sun poisoning, it turns you into something called a soul. They're kind of like zombies, but they like became zombies from sun exposure, I guess, if that's how you want to explain it. And then we have this sort of Hunger Games style element where people are lined up and chosen, they're drawn kind of like in the Hunger Games to go out to the surface and hunt and kill the souls. So that is what that is for. And then we also have a little bit of a Handmaid's Tale element, because the people who are lined up to be chosen to go to the surface are the women who are kind of unable to provide children or who are not married. So it's like a woman has a place in this cave underworld type of area, and if you don't meet that criteria, if you're not serving the community as a woman should, you are offered up to go to this super dangerous surface where you could get sun poisoning, you might get got by a soul, and there's a lot of feminine rage in this one. So I am gonna put this on here because a lot of people like it, but I'm gonna talk about it because I hate it. Silver Elite, which was kind of the first like big hitting spicy dystopian, and when I tell you, everybody told me it was gonna be spicy Divergent, and I was like, where? Number one, this one literally just felt like a romantasy book that had a dystopian backdrop. It felt like the dystopian element was so back burner that it was like 70-30 romance versus dystopian. I felt like the politics like were not described well enough, like they didn't really make sense. I just didn't like this one. I didn't like Silver Elite. I feel like maybe I went in with my expectations too high because it was a very overhyped book. But listen, Daggermouth was also kind of a big hyped up book, and I really liked Daggermouth, so whatever. Anyway, Silver Elite, if you want to dip your toe into spicy dystopian, if you've been reading romantasy, a lot of people who like romantasy, who like Fourth Wing, who like ACOTAR, who kind of got into their reading journey reading those, they really like Silver Elite, which is fine. It's completely fine if you read it and you like it. I hated it. I didn't like it. If you still want to read it and make your own opinion, great. And if you like it, listen, shocker, but we can still be friends if you don't like a book that I like. The book Boyfriend was heavily giving Xaden, which is another reason I didn't like it. It was insta-love. They literally were obsessed with each other from the moment that they met. They were never enemies, even though, again, this is another book that marketed itself incorrectly. This is another book that was like, enemies to lovers, spicy dystopian. I don't even know what else they had, but like it was literally none of that. And I honestly feel like I might have liked it. I still wouldn't have liked the romance because it was obnoxiously insta-love, but I may have liked more about the book if I hadn't been expecting the marketing to be truthful, because everything was a lie. Every single thing about it was a lie. There was one pretty good plot twist in it. It was just boring. I felt like it was hard to get through. It wasn't like fast-paced vibes read, like everything else was pretty good, because sometimes you can have a boring romance but like the plot is so high energy and fun that doesn't really matter, even if you're reading it for the romance. The plot was boring. The romance was insta-love, insta-lust. The guy was exact copy-paste Xaden. And I know I did a whole spiel about copy. I'm using that term loosely. Like, obviously he's not, I don't know though. Like, he was even described as looking like him. I don't care. I don't care if y'all get mad. I don't care if you get mad. He was giving even more boring Xaden to me. I liked Xaden more than I liked the guy in this book, if that tells you anything. Listen, when I don't like something, I don't like it. And I'm going to tell you. I'm not being mean. It's just how I feel. Anyway, so those are some of my most recent spicy dystopian reads. So if you're into the spicy books, if you're into romantasy, but you want to maybe try out, see if you like dystopian before you hop into my God tier list, those are some really good ones to try. All of them are pretty easy reads. Like, they are, the political system is not going to be super complicated. That is one thing about Red Rising. The political system and honestly planet hopping around just visually is sometimes a little bit like overstimulating. These are all very easy reads. Most of them are vibes reads, okay? They're not high literature. That doesn't mean that they're bad just because their vibe is more of the important part than, you know, other stuff. I don't care. I don't care about that. If you don't like a vibes read, don't read any of these, whatever. So let's talk about my dystopian TBR, and this is not necessarily romantic dystopian. These are the dystopian books that everyone has recommended that I read, that everyone says are their God tier required reading for dystopian books. So I'm going to go through, I had a bunch of comments for them. So one that has really been highly recommended to me is going to be the Scythe series by Neil Shusterman. I have heard of that one. I'm pretty sure I have it downstairs on my shelf. That one is a very highly rated, very popular, like a lot of people really like that series, so that is pretty high on my dystopian TBR. I don't know what it's about. I think it might have trials in it. I feel like trials is a very common theme with dystopian books, but you know. Another one that comes really, really highly recommended is The Fifth Wave. I feel like The Fifth Wave was a TV show or a movie that maybe got canceled, so that sort of like diminished my interest on it. The Society was one where it was a TV show that was like a really good TV show that people are still mad to this day that it got canceled. So maybe that's what I'm thinking of, but The Fifth Wave, I have definitely heard of that, but I have not read it, and I hear that it is a God tier 5-star dystopian. I read dystopian books like from my elementary to like middle school years, and then I got kind of emo in high school and I stopped reading through high school and college. So a lot of these like adult dystopian books came out or were more popular when I was not in my reading phase. So I am a real dystopian reader. I am a real reader, but listen, my personal reading hiatus was when all these were popular. So I missed a few of them. So this one, we also have a lot of recommendations for Battle Royale. So this, I think, came out before Hunger Games and might be what I was talking about, where like Hunger Games got that inspiration from that. And I think that was also a movie. So Battle Royale has always been on my TBR. And I do think that the movie was really good too. I haven't seen it, but I've heard a lot of people really like the movie. So maybe I should do like a big dystopian to movie adaptation read and watch so that I can give you a full like breakdown of which ones are good. Everyone says I'm sleeping on Neil Shusterman. So he also had a book apparently called Unwind. That one got recommended a ton in my dystopian comments. So Unwind is supposed to be really good, top tier. We can all buddy read these together. Oh, the other one that is like one of the most highly recommended that I see in my comments is going to be Wool by Hugh Howey. Wool, I think that's a TV show also. I feel like I know about it because I've seen the trailer for it like on Netflix or on some streaming network. I didn't realize it was a book. I feel like a lot of these I had no idea were books. So Wool is definitely really high on my dystopian TBR. And then let's talk about some runner-ups, some classic dystopian books that I definitely would recommend. But I don't know if this is unpopular. There's something about the like 80s and 90s style dystopian books that I don't like I don't know how to describe, I don't like the vibe, the way that it feels. I don't like 80s movies at all. Like it doesn't matter how good the movie is, I don't like the visual, I don't like the way that it looks. What is the word I'm looking for? It's not vibe, but like, I don't like it. I don't like it. And the same kind of applies to some really good classic dystopian books. I don't know if it's because I was forced to read them in school, but like runner-ups that definitely should be on the required reading list, but won't necessarily always be on my list. We do have The Handmaid's Tale. I did really, really, really like The Handmaid's Tale. I just feel like maybe it would be spot number 12, like in my list. That's like a first place runner-up. Definitely, it's amazing. And I really loved the show. I feel like the show got really crazy in the last season. Obviously the book doesn't go quite so off the rails. Handmaid's Tale, I think, comes and goes for me because it starts feeling like real society, like real politics, and I don't want to think about it. But everyone definitely should read Handmaid's Tale. I just feel like Handmaid's Tale is kind of like reading, Manacled or Alchemized. Like it's just nothing about it. It's not fun at all, which I obviously always really like. I don't know. That one just, I'm having trouble like describing what I mean. But I recommend it. Everyone should read it. It's just not fun at all. It's a dystopian that's not fun. I did get yelled at for not mentioning 1984. I don't like 1984. I understand it's a dystopian classic. I didn't like it. I didn't have fun reading it. If you love dystopian, definitely try it out. You should read it, but like it just doesn't make it up into my top 10. The Road. I also just medium liked The Road. I read the whole thing. I read the book. I liked it. But what is can I describe it as like old man, like a 40-year-old man dystopian? I'm so sorry, but that's what it felt like to me. It was just like, it felt like something my dad would read, and there's nothing wrong with that, but like I read it when I was in high school also, so maybe I should read it again as like someone in their 30s, but I was just like, it was just not my vibe. It was gritty and it was post-apocalyptic, but it was one of those ones that's like, it's post-apocalyptic and just dystopian, but like nothing happens. I understand that it's a think piece, it's for smart people. I just was like, I don't know. It just wasn't, for the same reason that some people like ACOTAR and some don't, I just didn't really like it. Oh, so there is one that was recommended on here that I did read and I really liked. Maybe we'll put it on like spot number 13 of my like top favorites, but Oryx and Crake, which is also by the same author of Handmaid's Tale. It's by Margaret Atwood. That one was really good. Completely different vibe than Handmaid's Tale. It was so good. I read it in like 2016 or 17, and I don't remember why I read it. I think I liked the name Oryx and Crake. I was like, oh, that sounds cute. It's not really cute. Like it's not cute. But Oryx and Crake is another really good like runner-up that needs to be on everybody's TBR. This is just sort of like a Q&A. I'm reading the comments telling me all of the dystopian books I missed in my ranking. Savage Lands by Stacey Marie Brown. That is a spicy dystopian that I left off because I didn't really like it. It was fine. It was like a 3-star, but it is a big long series, like 7 or I don't know how many books. It is a multi-book series that's not finished yet. I think that's all that I have for you. Those are my personal top 11, I guess top 13 if you want the honorable mentions of The Handmaid's Tale. And why are people texting me? Guys, I'm having a really chaotic day. I'm trying to make this video for you guys, and I really want to make it good, and I don't remember anything that I've said. So I don't know if I've said anything helpful. I don't know if I've given you any good recs. People keep texting me. It's like 7 o'clock at night. The sun's going down. My camera keeps overheating. Please, if anybody knows how to get my Sony camera to stop overheating, like, it takes 30 minutes the first time, and then after that it's every 8 minutes it starts to overheat. Is it my battery? Those are my top favorite personal dystopian recommendations, some classics for you, and some ones if you're interested more in the spicy romantasy feeling books that are actually dystopian. Let me know if you've read any. Let me know which ones I left off. I'm feeling very chaotic this week, so I'm pretty sure I left off about 5 in the dystopian romance one, because I've just read so many lately that I can't even remember. But let me know what your favorite dystopian book of all time is. If you agree with my rating, what would your number 1 be if you were ranking all of the favorite dystopian books ever? And are there any like classics that you're pissed off that I left off? Like, are you mad that I left off ones like 1984, like The Handmaid's Tale? Like, does that make you mad? Those are just not my type of favorite dystopian. And it's like, I can't say it without sounding weird or it's just a weird thing. I don't really love 80s and 90s dystopian books. They don't do it for me as much as the like kind of 2000s feeling millennial dystopian vibe. I'm like a millennial and up dystopian lover. I know that it's been around before millennial dystopian was around. That's just like, I feel like that's what I grew up on, so those I'm always gonna like better even than the really good like classics. I understand that the classics are good. I get that Fahrenheit 451, people love it. I was bored to tears in Fahrenheit 451. I get that it's messagey. I completely agree for the most part with the messaging I get it. It was a think piece, but like, I want my dystopian books to be a think piece with like high action, with like games and trials, with emotional damage. I feel like a lot of the really older ones, am I gonna get canceled for saying this? Like, the millennial dystopian vibe is my vibe. So my favorites are always gonna come from there. Maybe if I go back and reread some of the older ones as an adult, when I'm not like being forced to read them in school, like I associate those with like academic reading. I associate Fahrenheit 451, Handmaid's Tale, even though I liked it, The Road, I associate all of that with academic reading because I read them either in college or in high school and I had to read them. So they're not gonna make it onto my God tier list because I don't like to do things that I'm forced to do. So I guess just like take everybody's recommendation with a grain of salt. Like, if you grew up and you love those classics, you should read them, and they're gonna be 5 stars for you. They're just not what I personally am looking for. I like a think piece. I like messagey stuff. Like, I love the hidden meanings and like deeper meanings in dystopian books, but I need a lot of fun to come along with that usually, or a lot of like, you know, emotional damage that goes along with like, you know, side characters, character development. Like, I don't want just like big highbrow, like think about the world and be damaged that way. That's just like not my preferred way to consume dystopian or to emotionally damage myself. I don't know if that makes sense, but welcome to my inner workings as a person. That's how I am. So yeah, I don't know. You can go ahead and make comments about how I'm just not smart and I don't like to read smart dystopian. I don't like old dystopian, okay? Maybe y'all are old. I don't like old people dystopian, okay? Let's just leave it at that. If it feels old and stuffy to me, I don't want to read it. Anyway, that's that. Here's my ultimate list for my personal recommended dystopian books. If you liked it, let me know. I will also work on a high fantasy ultimate recommendation list. Now, there will be some old people fantasy on there. I do be liking old people high fantasy. I just don't like it with dystopian. So high fantasy list is going to be a wide variety of things. I've been reading high fantasy for longer than I've been reading dystopian, so I feel a little bit more confident with my range when it comes to high fantasy. So I'm just being honest with you. I'm going to work on that for you. That video is going to take me a minute because I quite literally have to like search the internet and the recesses of my brain to remember all of the fantasy books that I've read that like I was reading before anybody had Goodreads or kept track of what they were reading. So go ahead and drop your favorite fantasy book in the comments as well, so I can try to remember them as you comment them. Because right now I'm only remembering probably like 60% of them, and the rest of them are just hiding in the recesses of my brain somewhere. But that one is coming, master list for high fantasy. What else do you want a master list for? And I will be back with my March reading update, and I have a huge book mail unboxing that has at least five-star books in it. So get excited for that. Let me know which one you're most excited about, and your to-do lists. You need to subscribe. We want you to be here. Notify yourself for when I make a new video, because I am gonna start coming weekly. I'm gonna have videos for you, and I don't love to be consistent. I'm gonna try to post every Friday, but if I skip a Friday, you're gonna wanna be notified. So subscribe, like the video, tell me what your #1 favorite ever dystopian book would be. If you're mad at me that I left off classics, and then drop your favorite high fantasy book if you have one. Okay, that's a lot of to-dos. Do it all, entertain yourself. Let me know if you like the video, and I'll be back for fantasy and your March reading wrap up. My March reading wrap up. Is it 10? How many are there? It is 10. Why is there 11 in here? Huh? Did my light just go off? Get out of here. This is so chaotic. Oh, what the fuck spot are we in? This camera sucks. I'm officially mad now. These are all very modern dystopian books. I'm a millennial.